Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is James Hogan, OptionVue product consultant here. Today we got a lot to cover. We're going to go over all the scanning tools pretty much here in OptionVue, and kind of show you how to use OptionVue to find some trades. A number of different ways to use OptionVue to work and do a trade. I'm going to show you a bunch of them today. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I'll answer questions at the end. I'll keep my chat window open, so I might glance at that here and there if we're talking about a specific part that you want a little bit more information on. I'll try to go slow. I know I've done some of these before, and people said I kind of tend to go quick with this because I'm pretty familiar with OptionVue after the years that I've been here. So I'm going to share my desktop with you guys now and bring up my OptionVue program. And I'm not necessarily going to spend too much time going up over settings and things like that, just because we have a lot to cover here. First off, I do want to cover just a couple quick things here, and that's the groups section in OptionVue. You can see this green box up here, and then another green box below this list of symbols here. That is considered a group, and the title is in the center at the heading there. So this is an indices group, not necessarily that they're all indices. And then you can set these up however you want to, and to do that I'm just going to left click here on this, and to create a group you would simply have a new field here, and you would lead off with the pound sign and then what you want the title of that group to be. And this is important when we're doing scans, and I'll show you in a moment here. For instance, if I wanted to create a new group, I would hit the Insert button on my keyboard, or I would go up to Edit here and click Insert Row. It then creates a blank field for me there. I would then type in pound and the name of whatever you want your new list or group to be called. Okay. To get rid of that, you can simply left click on it again and hit the Delete key on your keyboard, and it gets rid of that group. Okay. The other thing I wanted to show off right off the bat here is that I have these tabs. This is kind of a newer feature in OptionVue 7 where you have these tabs where you can actually right-click on the main tab here, and I'm going to insert a tab, and I'll name this my test tab, and I hit Enter, and now I have created a new tab. I don't want that tab there, so I want to manage the tab, and I want this to be all the way down. I don't want it to be in the beginning there. I want to adjust the orders of it. So that's how I would do it. Put it all the way down at the bottom. And you can add a new tab this way as well if you wanted to. But that's important because basically you can create subgroups and different quotes displays. And again, this is another kind of important feature to take into account when we're doing scans. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. And the first thing I wanted to look at or show you guys, we're not in earnings season right now, so it's going to kind of seem quick because there's not a lot of stuff going on as far as earnings, not till next month. But we'll go ahead and click on this little button up here. It's the E with the arrow going from the lower left to the upper right here. I'm going to click on that, and it pulls up this list here. And right away, it's listing for me the companies that are announcing the next business day or after market close, basically, on this as of today. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, say what's announcing the next business day or after market close today, basically, now, and I can select that. Now it's only selecting the option stocks for me, so it's highlighting those for me. Okay. Now let's say you want to exclude stocks priced less than, and you can change this to whatever you want to. Let's just say $30, and I click this. Okay, it narrows the list down even further, and DVO means dollar volume of options traded on a daily basis. This number is going to be as of close last night, and it's showing 50. When you see 50, that's in terms of thousands. So that means it's going to exclude stocks with less than $50,000 of options traded daily. So I can select that, and it weeds them down even further. Okay, so you can select these parameters as much as you want, and then you can always, scroll up and down and see everything that's announcing. So let's say you had this. I can right-click on it if you wanted to, and it'll say, where do you want to put this list? Okay. If you want to say, let's add to the quotes display, it'll actually create a list for you here, and it gave it to me a bunch of times there, but basically it'll create this new group for you, earnings results. So, when you come into earnings season, it's a nice way to go in there and quickly, find some candidates for some earnings plays. Okay. So now that we found this this earnings play, like I said again, when you come into earnings season, that's something that's going to be more valuable. The other thing, before I go and we do a little trade on Alta, I wanted to show you that we have this new column heading here, which is, it says earn date. It should say it'll say earnings date if you had the column bigger. Let me go over to my main, and you can see here I have this earnings date column here, and it will list for you if you have anything in your quotes display that's going to have earnings coming out, and it's going to show you the dates of when they're coming up. That's kind of a new feature that column that we have in there. So now you can easily see if earnings is coming up on one of your stocks in your quotes display. So let's go back to the my test tab here, and basically let's take a look at a matrix. I'm just double clicking on this, and I'm opening up an options chain here, what we call our matrix. This is a new feature in the latest versions. We put this little shading in here to show at the money, so it's easy to see where you're at when you're looking at an options chain. So basically, we've got earnings coming out, and if you look in this September, expiring next Friday here, you can see that the volatility is really high right here, and that's because of the announcement that's coming out this afternoon here. As you can see, as we go out here, the volatility drops. Okay. And this is because of the announcement that's coming out today. So normally what you would look at is you can look out, maybe out to March or January and kind of get an idea of where volatility is on a normal, when you don't have on a normal day, when you don't have an earnings announcement or anything building up, some news coming out. So what we can do here is we could, take a look at a trade here. Let's just look at a calendar here. I'm basically selling the at the money call, and I'm going to buy the next month out at the money call. So I'm selling this one, buying this one. And I'm just in the trade field here, so I'm going to analyze this one. Okay. Now, basically, I've taken a look at Alta before, and I put this date in here. Okay, this is our new horizontal skew modeling. So basically, what I did is I came in here and I said, you know what? There's an event date happening after the market closed today, which is why I put tomorrow's date in here. And I decreased this by 36.6. And now you can adjust this a little further if you want to. You can actually manually do that, or you can click on these dots in this skew cone here, multi-cone, and you can pull these things down a little bit more if you want to. Okay, and it's good to look at back in history and see, maybe where volatility is at a normal level. I think these might all be up a little bit higher here. And you can adjust those. So basically what's happening right now is we're looking at this event date, and you can see this line right here that I'm highlighted on is actually the 13th, 9/13. And this is what's happening. This is what it's going to look like tomorrow morning when the market opens. Okay. The x-axis down here is representing our underlying price, and this is going to be our profit and loss, just on a one lot that we put on here. So basically, these are our break-even lines. So we're profitable tomorrow if Alta doesn't get more than 14% to the upside or 10% to the downside. Okay. Okay. So can everybody hear me okay? I just got somebody saying that the audio was out. Just someone type in there that you can hear me all right. Okay, thanks, Stanley. So basically, this is using the model. I'm going to go backwards here. So basically, I'm going to show you what it would look like without this skew model, and what you'll see a lot of times in other platforms that don't allow you to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this multi-change box right here, and it's going to pull up that model again. Okay, I'm going to clear this stuff out. I'm going to erase all of this. Okay, so this is what it really looks like right now. You can see the volatility, and the front month right there in September is super high, and the rest of these kind of drop off. So I'm gonna hit OK, and now this is what it would normally look like. Doesn't even take into consideration, at all what's going to happen tomorrow morning when the market opens. Okay, so these are definitely inaccurate. Before when we did our Skew model, it was showing that you can only go down 10% before you're going to lose on this one. And the upside was actually a little bit higher than that. It was actually 14%. So again, the modeling in OptionVue is going to give you, the edge to really paint a picture of what it's going to look like tomorrow. And the thing is with Alta, whether we were going to do this, we're going to have to look at. I'm just looking at a price chart here, and you can go back and see, the earnings gaps. And this thing gaps big. We had a big gap down there. We had a big gap up on this last earnings. So those are the things you have to consider as well. Okay, is this, even with the modeling, it's going to give you a good picture of, if this thing tends to gap, 15, 20% in that range somewhere, maybe not a good play for a calendar type of a spread. Better to have some kind of a direction in mind. But let's just say, for instance, that we had this, we wanted to use TradeFinder to find a trade, the best type of trade for this. So what I'm going to do, and there's always a couple ways to do the same thing in OptionVue. I'm going to click on my model button here, which is just for Alta. I'm going to click on the volatility here, and again, I'm going to take a look here. I'm going to say this is going to drop about 33%. So I'm just typing in -33 here. And then it drops everything else with it, okay? You don't have, and that's not accurate. It's not going to drop that low. Okay, this is probably going to drop a little bit, maybe down to 35. I think this is going to be in the 30s, actually. I'm going to bring it down a little bit more here, and accordingly. Okay, something like that. I'm going to hit OK here. Hit OK, and TradeFinder is going to look at this model that we have set up now. Okay, and what I want to do is I'm just going to do a bell curve here. I have my asset, which is Alta. Okay, my target, I'm just doing a bell curve. I'm just going to say where the price is at right now. I don't know where it's going to go up or down, but just to take advantage of the modeling right now, what's going to give us the best, if this thing really doesn't move that much, what's going to give us the best case return? And I can rank the results over here. Okay, this is best case return versus worst case return. This is expected return versus worst case return. Okay, we're going to look for the best case return. I'm going to look at just tomorrow. My strategies, I'm going to pick them all. My goal, just say I want to put, let's just say I want to use $2,000 for a trade here. Okay, and filters, you can get pretty specific with your filters. I put a tomorrow date in here, so there's not really a need for any of these things in here right now. But I do always like to have something in volume and open interest just to make sure there's some options trading there. It's not going to, give us something where it's not possible to get filled if there's no volume or interest in that specific option contract. So I'm going to go ahead and hit go here. And it's going to look at the options chain that I have for Alta, and it's going to look at all the strategies here. I'm going to go back and click on the strategies tab. And these are all of our bullish strategies. These are all of our bearish strategies. And these are all the ones you can very specifically pick and choose as you want. And OptionVue will go out and look at your options chain in the matrix and come up with some strategies. So based on the data I have in my quotes display, the best case return it's given me is a 75% probability of profit based on the bell curve that I have set up here. My best case return is 1995. Let's take a look at this one. And when we're looking at butterflies, you have to remember also we're looking at September and September. We have to, let me click on the solid line here. The solid line here, because I have this September 13th date, is what it's looking at. This shaded region is the bell curve I asked it to look at. Okay, I'm going to zoom out here. Okay, now it's looking at this, putting on this butterfly. Now, I didn't look at the option change to see what it looks like, but basically it's saying that this is a zone that it's looking for. Okay, I don't really, and TradeFinder is going to give you a lot of results. And let's go ahead and I can close this basically, and I can click on the next one if I wanted to, and I can analyze then that one. Okay, and it's looking at these zones right here. Okay. It's looking at this as far as how it's calculating my probability of profit. It's looking at the standard deviations here. And that's what these basically are representing. The shaded, darker shaded region is the first standard deviation in either direction, and the lighter shaded is the second standard in either direction. And that's why it's showing 80% probability of profit, because 80% of my solid line here is above the 0 line within this shaded region. Okay. Let's see here. I want to look at some other ones. I'm surprised it didn't give me my calendar. Let's take a look and see. I'm going to deselect all and run this one more time and just see. Look at some horizontals here. Here's the one out. This is showing me horizontals, basically calendars at the 50, the 110. Let's look at this one. Okay. So these are a good way, and then you can see if you had a bunch of different candidates for earnings plays, you could, definitely run these types of scans for each of them to get not only some good trade ideas, but some ways to look at different strategies and how you can use different strategies and what they not only look like, but how they compare up against the other ones. So for instance, I've looked at a couple right now. So I'm going to go back to this butterfly. I'm going to analyze it, and then you can actually, it saves up to 5 of them for you, and you can impose a couple over each other to really see how they stack up against one another. These lines look weird because we're looking at basically an expiration, at options that are expiring within a week, and the event date is tomorrow. So when you do different scans, which we're going to do here in a moment, you'll see they're going to look a lot different here. So we're going to close this one and clear this and close it. So that's kind of a way that you would use the modeling, horizontal skew modeling for the earnings report, and then go into TradeFinder to see what kind of trades you could use to take advantage of that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and close Alta out here. And we'll go back to my main quotes display here. Okay, so now that's what I wanted to cover, some of the earnings, and that's how you would do that. Again, that's up here at the top right, this earnings button. Like I said, in October, you're going to see a lot more results coming up for that. Next thing I wanted to show you is survey. Okay. And I'm going to clear this. Now, what survey can do, and you can pick, a number of assets. Let's just say we're going to look at 30. And over here on the right, again, we can determine what the DVO is, the dollar volume of options traded daily. And this is, saying that we're going to only look at candidates that have $30,000 or more trading in options daily. We want a minimum price of, let's just say 35. Minimum history, and this means that this has been, we have some historical data, going back at least a year, and let's just say 2 years on that one. And percentile is important. Okay, I like to look back about 2 years. I don't like to go back too much farther than that. The reason that I say that is that things could have been a lot different in the history of an underlying back then. But basically, what this is doing is it's looking at the volatility numbers over the past 2 years. And let me just show you where this data is coming from. Let me get back to the main page here. Let's look at Apple, and I'm going to pull up a price chart here. And basically, I'm going to look at the volatility. I'm clicking on my price chart here, and these are my price chart buttons. I'm going to click on these lines right here, which represent my volatility lines. The blue is the implied, and the red is the statistical, which is what we call our historical volatility. We actually call it statistical. It's a little bit more of advanced calculation than what people refer to as historical. And you can see these numbers right here, SV and IV. These are the percentiles that they are in based in the life of my chart that I have here, going back to 1995. It's not going to really apply for the IV because options didn't start trading on this until 2001. Okay, so based on the history of the red and the blue line, these numbers are representing what percentile it's in right now relative to the whole charts here. And you can see, that it's in a kind of a lower level right here when you see, all of these higher levels. So basically, the IV is in the 14th percentile. That means 96% of the time, 86% of the time, it's been in a higher position. And then same type of thing with the statistical volatility there. Okay, so basically when I go to my survey here, what it's saying is that I want to only look at what percentile the IV and SV is in relative to the past 2 years. So, going back to 2011, this time of the year. So I want to look at all my assets, all stocks. I want to find, something that's, let's look at something with the highest IV-SV ratio, or actually we'll look at something that's in the highest IV percentile right now, and we'll sort them based on the greatest dollar volume of options traded. Survey is a really, really nice way to make some lists for yourself. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the quotes display really quick to show you why. Let me close this, and let's click on my test tab. Okay. Let's actually create a new group here, and I'm going to type in the pound key, and let's actually insert some cells. I'm going to do my pound, name it highest IV SV. Okay, hit enter, and I've got a new list here. Okay, now we're going to go back into survey, and I'm going to, actually we'll do this highest IV-SV ratio. I'm going to hit go. Okay, and it's going to pull up 30 for me because that's what I asked for, and it's going to show me the highest IV-SV ratio. So you can see we're in the 91 percentile here over the last 2 years, relative to the last 2 years, and this is where the SV is. Okay, so basically what you can do then is I can, left click on this one and pick and choose, insert as you want to, and it's going to go right to my new list that I created. I can hold down the control key and select whichever one I want. Okay, or I can hold down the shift key and go down here and click on this last one. It's going to highlight the whole list for me. Actually, I didn't do that right. Click on this one, hold down the shift key, and it'll highlight the whole thing, and then I can insert over there. So now I can go ahead and close this, and there's my list that I just moved over. Okay, and then from here you can take this list and bring it into TradeFinder and do some scans with this. Okay, so basically it's saying, these have the highest IV-SV ratio, meaning that, possibly there's some earnings or there's some news out there, but regardless of what it is, there's some premium in the options. And, with the SV being lower, that means we're going to have, and let's go ahead and take a look at a price chart so you can see how the data is coming in for this. And what it's looking for something that's got high IV and low SV. Okay, basically it means the SV being low means we're not moving a lot. It means we're in a narrower range and there's premium in the options. Okay, I like to run the scan sometimes and look for, some non-directional stuff a little bit because you can, like I said, you can set your wings up outside of here and be able to collect some premium that way. And I'll show you how I would do that. So let's just take, for instance, and say that we wanted to just look at maybe these top 5 here. Okay, and to get rid of symbols, I'm just going to hold down my delete key and get rid of all of those. I have my group here, so I'm now going to go to TradeFinder. Now I didn't open an options chain for any of these in this new list here. So what you have to do first before you can go this far is you want to go up to Net View at the top. Okay, you would go to Net View at the top, and I want to update my asset files. what this is doing essentially is it's going to, and I'm going to click on this third button here, which stands for G. If I clicked on 1, it would just bring in whatever I'm highlighted on. If I click on G, it's going to bring in this highest IV/SV group. Okay, so now I'm going to hit go, and what that's going to do is essentially behind the scenes it's opening up an options chain for each of these, so that we have OptionVue and TradeFinder needs to have this data in order to this options data that it pulls in order to run these things. So basically the assets here, I'm going to click on this G button again to pull in that group. I'm going to go to my targets, okay, and whenever you have a list, you're going to want to, you can actually click on these individually and change the prices by themselves. I'm kind of looking at a non-directional bias here, so I'm not picking either way. I just want to take advantage of the premium that's in the option. So I'm going to click on a bell curve. I'm going to click on this button on the left of the symbols here. And if you were bullish the market, you could say, I think that all of these, you know, might be 2% higher. These are percentages. Or you're bearish the market, so I'm going to, you know, just want to find a good trade where I think, you know, all of these targets are going to be down by 3% or something like that. But right now, for this, I'm just going to put 0 in here. I think the volatility is going to stay where it's at. And let's just put in a date here. We'll just say, you know, a month out, and we'll hit OK. And it went and it found all those targets for us based on what I put in there. Okay, the strategies that I'm looking for, let's just say I wanted to do, you know, these kinds of strategies here. My goals, we'll just keep it at 2,000. Again, I'll keep my filters the same. Important thing in here is if you're doing a scan for weeklies, for instance, maybe you just want to do a trade like this, but only in the weeklies, you would do minimum day or maximum days to buy. You would probably put in there 10. You know, that way you can be looking for trades for next week's expiring weeklies. Okay, 10 and max days to sell 10. You would put 10 in there and 10 in there. Okay, but I'm not doing a weekly scan right now. I just want to look for a general trade that's going to really focus on my target date, October 15th. So it's going to find me the best case returns for all of these targets based on these 3 strategies that I chose. Okay, maximizing the use of the capital I provided and really trying to find the best case return for October 15th on all of these. I'm going to hit go, and it's going to work for me. You can see it's working through the symbols in order here and then going through the strategies for each of them. Okay, I'm going to open this up a little bit more. Okay, so it's my search is complete, and it's finding some horizontals for me, and this looks like it is. We can quickly take a look at these. Gives you some basic, you know, best case return right here. Probability of profit 81%. Now I didn't look at the news on all of these or what's going on with them, so that is something always to consider when we're looking at high IV. More times than not, there's a reason there's high IV, but there are some things out there that trade normally with higher premium out there. I'm going to analyze this one and see what it looks like. Okay, and this is why it's giving me such a high probability of profit, because the solid line is not expiration. This is the actual projection date that we're looking at. Okay, I click on that solid line there, or I could click on, you know, these dates in here in order to give me the information for that date that I'm looking at. So on October 15th, and let me zoom out a little bit here. Zoom out, you can zoom out by doing this. This plus and minus over here, you can slide this if you want to. Okay, or you can drag, when you have the double-sided arrow here, you can drag this way also. Okay, so based on the target that I said, you know, when it says this is my expected return, which is an average of the bell curve. And then if I go back here, you can see my best case return. I'm going to go back and analyze it again. This is, of course, my best case return. If you happen to, underline happen to fall on this price on October 15th, that's going to be your best case return. Okay, expected return is basically taking into consideration all the points along this line, and then it's taking an average of them. Okay. Let's take a look at another one real quick that I came up with. This time more, we got a butterfly here. That was a horizontal we were looking at. We'll look at this one. Okay. Best case return is right here. Now, then it's important when you're doing these that not to necessarily use expiration dates unless you really plan on holding a butterfly till expiration, because you'll get some super extreme results because it's going to be looking at the very peak point of your butterfly. You know, for instance, this one here, you know, would actually, you know, probably have a peak that starts like that's way up here, and it would look at this, you know, that point right there on a butterfly. Okay. So that is how you could kind of go through these, and if it was something that you really liked, you could then highlight it, and then I could say, okay, I want to send this to the matrix. So I would click on the Send This Trade to the Matrix button. It's going to populate this for me, and there it is ready to go. It's almost maximizing my 2,000 capital that I asked it to do. And then you can analyze this again from here. Okay, you can see the point I was talking about. Okay, and then you can, you know, add more lines. And at this point, once you see that this trade is looking good, you can even make some adjustments. You could widen it out a little bit if you wanted to, add contracts, reduce contracts. You know, I could make this a -30 if I wanted to instead, and do a 15 here just to make it even on the sides to change it up a little bit. So you have the ability to do that. TradeFinder, you know, will give you some great trades, but it's also a great way to get to a starting point for a trade where you can kind of tweak it and manipulate it however you want to. Okay. So that is using survey and then taking that survey list and then moving it to TradeFinder. Okay. As a little bit of a review, important thing to do is that before you do a TradeFinder, if you haven't opened each one of these option chains yet, is to go to NetView, update asset files, select your group, and then update them. Okay, then you would go into TradeFinder and select your assets, which is again the group. Go to targets and make sure you set the prices for all of these over here. Or, like I said again, you can set them up individually. Click on it, set a price. Click on it, set a price here. Okay. So that is TradeFinder. Let's look at OpScan, and then I'm going to open it up for some questions, or if you guys want me to look at things. And OpScan is extremely different than Survey or TradeFinder. Survey and TradeFinder, Survey is looking at our price charts. That's where the data is coming from. It's coming from our price charts and from our volatility charts that are overlaid in the price charts. TradeFinder is looking at the matrix. It's looking at this information. When I open this up, it's looking at this information right here. Okay. Now, another important thing to know is that if there is a narrow range in here, you know, TradeFinder is only looking at this small amount of information here. If there are more months out, you might have to go in and define more months. If you want leaps included, you have to include the leaps. Okay, if you want more months out there into the future, you would have to change these and apply them here. And now you can see, you know, there's more contracts out there that are available for trading. So important to know that if you have something that you're looking at and the option chain only goes from 57 to 90 when there's actually another 10 strikes trading up here and below here, you might have to go in there and define those. Okay, that's why I always have my strike ranges set to large. As a default, it's not set this way. So that's important, so that OptionVue looks at where the at-the-money is right now, where the underlying price is, and it selects a range above and below. That range still might not be big enough for you. So if that's the case, and you want to add some more strikes, you would click on Options. In the red section here, you can scroll down to the first blank field, and they don't have to be in order at all. So let's just say I wanted to type in here 56, 95, 92, and 55. And then you can also do the same thing over here. If I click on this right here, it's going to give me the next ones out if they're trading. I'll hit OK. Okay. And now you can see down here there is stuff trading out here at this 55 I put in. Okay. Up to the top, there's nothing trading up there. That's what the S means, is there's nothing trading there. Okay. So there was nothing in these contracts yet. Look how far out they are. That's why. But I just wanted to put those in as a example to you. But those are important things to know. And absolutely, it works. This works with futures as well. And I'll take a look at one of those in a second here also. So, and the thing is, TradeFinder is very, very finicky. So, I mean, that's why I wanted to explain this, that it's only working with the data that's provided. If there's some bad pricing or crazy, someone got to put a crazy order out there or a crazy fill out there, it could possibly throw things off. And that's why it's good to come in here and kind of, you know, dig in and see what the options are really showing you. Let's close this. And now talking about OpScan. OpScan is different in that OpScan goes to its own server. And it is looking at the whole world of options. It's extremely customizable. We actually have people that subscribe to OptionVue only to use OpScan. So I'm going to click on OpScan here. And OpScan comes with some preloaded formulas. Over the years here, I've you know, added some. People have asked me to help create some. I've gone to Steve Lentz, and he's given me a ton as well. But basically, this is, I'm going to run this scan for you. This is breakouts to the downside. I'll show you like 3 different scans. And this is if you're looking for something that's gonna move. You're looking for something that's moving up or down, but this is going to be breakouts to the downside. And basically, I'm going to highlight this and just show you here that these are all customizable formulas. You can pick how the options based on underlying criteria and option-specific criteria. You can sort them accordingly as well, and you can even have a show line on what you want to see specifically in these results. Okay, I'm doing this to include all, but you can actually select currencies, commodities, futures, or bonds, or indexes. But I'm just looking at all of this right now. And we have a parameter guide. If anybody wants to you know, get OptionVue and try to develop your own formulas, we have a nice parameter guide and a couple of videos where Steve Lentz demonstrates on how to write formulas. But you know, after you wrote a formula, you would test the syntax. It'll say if it's a valid formula or not. If it's not, it would say, you know, put the cursor maybe next to this comma here and say something is wrong from this way to the left. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead. Looks good. I'm going to highlight this one. Now it's important, you know, you can highlight multiple ones. It's important to make sure you're only checked on the one you want to look at. Okay, for breakouts to this downside, I'm going to hit go. Report received, and it saves all of your reports for you. Okay, I've deleted them since, and it ranks them by the date. Okay, so you can see 9, 12, 13. So December 12, 2013. This is the one I just ran. And it's giving me my list here. Okay, so this was what the underlying closed at basically. Okay, and these are the 10 days where the low was 10 days ago and what the high was 10 days ago. Within the last 10 days, you can see that this broke lower. And the same thing for all of these. That's what it's looking for. Okay, so basically, if it broke out to the downside, you're going to be bearish on it, and now you could, you know, insert this to wherever you are. And there's my Men's Warehouse here, and now you could again go into TradeFinder and say, let me look at the one that I'm highlighted on, Men's Warehouse. I want to go into NetView because I didn't open up an options chain on this one yet. So I'm pulling in option data on the Men's Warehouse. Okay, then I go to Target and I can say I have a specific price. I think let's do a price range. You know, it's at 34 right now. Let's say I think this is going to go down to you know, 32 to maybe, you know, 29, whatever you want to do there. And my projection date, you can do a date range. I think this is going to happen by October 1st to October 10th, let's say. Somewhere in that range is going to be within this price range, and I didn't mean to change that, so let's do 31 on that one. Why it's changing both of them. That might be something there. Interesting. Let's just do a specific price right now and say 29. I'll have to look at that in there. And strategies, let's just say we just want to look at the bearish strategies, which are on this side because we're bearish. Goals 2000 filters are good. Go. And it's looking through all the strategies. Look through all those strategies I selected just now, and it found that this one is going to give me the best possible best case return. I can analyze it. And there's my target. See the black line there is a specific target that I put there. It says if this gets down to 29, this is going to be your best bet here. Let's look at a different strategy. We'll look at this. This was a vertical credit spread. We'll look at a almost look at a butterfly. Analyze it. Okay. Ooh, this is actually selling a butterfly. You can see that there. Well, I want to compare that to the other one I looked at, which was this one. Let's see how close they are. And definitely the credit spread is going to give me more. And they're color-coded here as well. So you can kind of see what's going on up here. This is the position. The butterfly's in the green. And then the darker blue is the vertical. Okay. So I'm going to clear this one and close it. So that's one way if you were looking for a breakout, a directional play in OpScan. Okay. I wanted to show you another one as well, which was going to be, and if you ever wanted to use OptionVue, test it out, or Jim Graham in the office actually said that if anybody that is a current subscriber and wants OpScan, I can offer it through the end of the month if you mention this presentation, half price for OpScan. And if you do purchase OptionVue, same thing. You can I can get you OpScan for half price through the end of this month here. Usually it's $4.99 a year, so I can offer it for $2.49 for the year. Okay. Now you can see here's another formula. It's going to be, this would be an excellent formulas for calendars, where there's an actual skew in the front month versus the second month, or the second month versus the third month, where there's more premium in the front month to take advantage of. What I wanted to show you was the length non-directional candidates. This is something Steve does every week in the market huddle. He shows people this. But this is for non-directional stuff. Kind of like I was showing you before with the low IV, SV. But basically with these, and let me make sure, I always do this, is deselect all just to make sure that I'm only looking at this one. And if you want to learn more about this formula, you would simply go to OptionVue.com. This is our home page here. You click on what's new. This shows you all of the upgrades through all the versions of OptionVue. But you come down here to where it says download latest issue of OptionVue. View the OptionVue newsletters here. Click on here. And these are the ones, this is really great stuff if you guys want to ever take a look at this. But right here, you'll see the March, April 2011 issue, lens volatility indicator. You can open this. It's a PDF, and it gives you a nice article on the LVI, but that is not necessarily what I wanted to show you. Yeah, I believe it's in there too. But you'll find really nice strategies, OptionVue, tips and pointers, and things like that. So this is where you can go to find out more information about this, what I'm about to run here. But this is for non-directional, so it's basically pure condors, butterflies, calendars, things like that. And I'm going to go ahead and go. It's going to create another report for me here. And here it is. Okay. And basically what it's going to show you is the average IV, and this is looking at the last 500 days, and find out where the SV has been in the last 20 days, because you want the SV to be lower. You want to make sure there's not a huge amount of movement in the underlying, because that's going to get out to your wings to where you're not going to be profitable if you're doing non-directional stuff. So again, then you could click on this, hold the shift key. Maybe you want to just look at the first 10. And as you can see, we've got futures coming in here in this list. So we've got the yen. We got SP futures, VIX futures. and then you get everything else in here. Then you could just, create a group again, insert them. I'm going to go ahead and insert them. And I'm going to close this and close this, and you can see I have them in here. I think Green Mountain Coffee, it came all the way in. And I don't think, yep, SP was the first one there, so I think I can insert this, right? Yep, insert, and this was my lens scan. And I didn't put my pound sign in. You got to make sure you do that. Lens scan. Okay, there we go. Now I can go ahead. If I wanted to look at one of these, let's just look at, we'll say Best Buy. And I'm going to go to TradeFinder. Do the same thing here. Just click on Best Buy. I'm going to go to Net View at the top, Update Asset File. Click on the one because I just want to do the Best Buy. I'm going to hit Go. It's going to look at this for me. Process is complete. My strategies, let's just look for butterflies and condors. Goal, filters, good. Best case return. I want to make sure I want to do a bell curve here for my target. Bell curve. It's going to be right where it is right now. And let's look at November. I'm going to go. I'm going to find all of these. Oh, I selected too many of them. I didn't want to do verticals, did I? Let me look at my strategies again. Oops. Let's try that again. I had all these bearish ones selected. Let's deselect all. Just butterflies and condors, please. Nothing profitable. Now we have to find out why that happened. Let's see, my target is here. Got my November date. My strategies are long and long. My goal is 2,000. I have my filters here. And sometimes you'll get this to where you don't get results, and you got to find a reason for it. Okay, I'm going to pull up my matrix here. Let me look at my options chain. Let me click on my define. I've got everything going on here. That looks good. Let's check out my model. Did I do something with my modeling? I did not. So everything looks okay to me. Let's go to TradeFinder again. Best case return, Best Buy, target, strategies. Let's select some more strategies here. Goals 2,000. And it's not liking the condors or the butterflies for me. It's looking at horizontals for me right now. Okay. So, but I think you guys get the gist of how TradeFinder works, how Survey works. Again, OpScan extremely customizable in being able to look at different things. Yeah, this is recorded, if anybody's asking me. Let me show you where to go for the recordings. You're going to go to, again, OptionVue. Let's go to the home page here, and you'll see this is our schedule. This is the one we're doing right now. And then you have, you can view all archive recordings here. It brings you up to this page that's loading right now, and you'll be able to see all of our webcasts here. Essentials are, specifically about OptionVue. The ones I've done, Jeremy's done, Ken and Karen have done, or specific, topics. For instance, if you want to look at BackTrader. Okay, the other thing you can look at is the DL Mentor series. These are more strategy and educational from the mentors here at OptionVue and Discover Options. Okay. What other questions can I answer for you? Let's see here. Okay, it works with commodities. Yeah, it works with commodities. Let me just open up my futures tab real quick here. Let me close this. Close this. Yeah, I have futures. These are all my futures here. If you want to look at a gold matrix. If you want to look at, it's the same as if you were looking at an equity. Okay. OptionVue Pro, someone's asking me about OptionVue Pro. You can get OptionVue Pro for, it's like $300 more than the standard edition. Let me show you some of the features of Pro real quick. You would click on Preferences as one of them, okay? And this is one of the differences here, is you have a market maker style of analysis versus a detail, versus regular style, and I'll show you that real quick here. Let's just say I put a trade on, and I don't even know what I'm in copper right now. Let's just say, want to do that, wanted to analyze it, okay, just buying a call. This is my detail screen right here. This is the regular style of analysis, okay, projected date, shows you what your opening cost would be, and if you closed it, whatever your projection date is, what it would be at. Now, if I went to File and Preferences and did a market maker style, I said OK, and then I analyze this again. This is what the market maker style of analysis is looking at. It gives you the Greeks for each of these futures and things like MIVs and things. It gives you a lot more kind of detailed information about each of the strikes. So not necessarily. It depends on your preference if that's something that that you would want. Another thing that's really important that is part of the Pro style is in the volatility here. If I go to, this is our horizontal model, this is our vertical skew model, and then there's other. Okay, these are selected models you can use. You can use a uniform, you can use a variable, you can use an EIOIO. That's what that stands for right there. Thinkorswim uses this. A lot of broker platforms use this. And then you can do a manual skew. This manual skew is Pro. Okay, and basically what you would do is you would be able to have the calls and the puts are represented by different symbols here. Is you can really, you know, start manipulating the skews and things like that. You know, extremely customize your volatility skews. Okay, pretty kind of advanced stuff there. What else is available in the Pro? Those are the two biggest things there. Let me see if anybody else has some questions. If someone wants more information, you can email me at james@optionvue.com. That is my email address. Just so you can see that. Okay, is there any difference? I'm just read some questions here. Okay, I have people asking about the three different data feeds that you can get with OptionVue. Is a very powerful program. However, you have to fuel it with data of some sort. And there's three possible ways to do that. You can do that with QuoteView, which is what I use during the day. I'm just going to right-click on this here so you can see it. My continuous data source is QuoteView. QuoteView is the expensive route to go. It's the real-time data. It is, you know, $11.95 a year. That's $1,195 per year, or you know, $150 a month. Now there's exchange fees included in that. For equities, it's like $9.75 a month. That includes the equities, indices, and options that go along with it. Basically, these right here. Futures exchanges are pretty expensive for real time. It's either anywhere between, what is it, $80 a month to $85 a month, I believe, for like the CME, COMEX, NYMEX, the CBOT. So that can get pretty expensive monthly. Interactive brokers is what we call broker quotes. If you have your trader workstation open with your account from IB, you can get that feed in the OptionVue. It is not as fast as QuoteView. There's quite a number of people using it because it is the least expensive route to go. It's $60 a month for that, or $600 a year for the broker quotes. And the reason there's a charge for that is because there's new symbols, new products constantly coming out from the CBOE that we have to then write to, the programmers have to write to accept that new information coming from IB. So that's basically the cost to maintain that feed. And Backtrader is 30 minutes delayed throughout the day, but it also gives you access to our historical database. We've saved option pricing data on all the U.S. exchanges going back to January of 2001. So a ton of data is stored there, and people will use that, kind of as a starting out usually, unless they're doing a lot of day trading that people are just kind of trading after work and stuff like that. They will use Backtrader because they don't need the real-time data. And basically, if you didn't have quote view, you would basically have your, I'll suspend my quotes right now, and then I'll go into something I haven't looked at, like Platinum. And I got no data here because I have suspended my quote view. Now, what you would do is you just hit this little refresh button here, okay, and it's not coming in yet. That might be because of the market. Let me try this one. Backtrader. I'm not able to find anything. I picked a bad one. Oh, I pulled in my futures prices for me there. Let's go to an equity that I haven't looked at right now. It's going to be easier because these things trade at different times. I haven't looked at JC Penney today. And let's go ahead and go into a matrix. And you're going to see, it is pulling in data for me. So it automatically updated this for me because I have my quote suspended, so it automatically grabbed this from Backtrader, which is what it was supposed to do. So basically, there's like an extra step. Usually if you're using Backtrader, every half an hour throughout the day, you would have to come up here, hit this refresh button, and it would update on the half hour. It'll pull in the last half an hour's data. See what other questions I got here. So those are basically the three data sources. Backtrader is $75 a month or $750 a year. I have an IB account, but I don't use the data feed at all. So if anybody has specific questions about the functionality of broker quote through Interactive Brokers, you want to call in and talk to one of the tech guys here about that. Someone else is asking me about OpScan. Roger, someone's asking me for all the parameter guides for OpScan. You'd want to send me an email and I can email it out to you. I'll send it to you in a PDF format. Just email me at james@optionvue.com. Can't use TOS data currently. So no on Thinkorswim data right now. Someone's asking me about, let's see, how to create an account for IB when the correct connection is done. Not sure. Yeah, okay. Someone wants to know how you would hook up your IB data feed. There's actually a short video that you can look at for that. Let me see if I can find it for you guys really quick here. Usually it's in the how-tos that Jeremy does. Clicking on the how-tos. There it is. OptionVue. How to set up IB for use with OptionVue. Quick 2-minute video, but a necessity if you want to hook up to the IB quote. So you come to our archives from our home page, and then you go to the how-tos, and then it's down here. It's in the how-tos. Again, down here, how to use OptionVue. If you go, you could always YouTube this too. If you go to my YouTube channel, OptionVue James is the title of my YouTube channel. And if you even just Google OptionVue James IB, the video will pop up in YouTube, and you can watch it that way as well. someone's asking me about pricing. You know, if anybody's interested in purchasing OptionVue or adding on subscriptions, things like that, it's best to you know, email us or call us, just because we can, you know, bundle packages and offer discounts versus what's just a la carte on the website. So go ahead and email your product consultant, either me or Karen, about that. Let's see if there's any other questions here. And also, if you want the parameter guide for OpScan, email me. I'll send it right out to you. If you registered for this webcast, don't worry about it. You're going to get emailed the recording as soon as it's ready for you as well. So if there are no other questions, someone asked me to share some of the OpScans that formulas we've created over time. You can find some. Let me show you some OpScans. Steve Luntz is more the OpScan expert than I am. But let's go back to OptionVue here. If you click on, this is a neat little thing to check out. Click on education. You know, we do offer one-on-one mentoring. But let's actually go over to the Discover Options website. This is our educational site. If you click on education here and you go to archive webcasts, this is pretty cool stuff here that's all for free over here. Here's a high probability OpScan where Steve Luntz talks about a formula and how to create it. Here's a volume OpScan. Okay. There's a how to write a new OpScan formula here. Okay. Highest annualized yield OpScan. So there's 4 really good OpScan webcast videos right here that really dive into OpScan. Okay. Okay, if there's no other questions, I thank you guys very much. I've gone a full hour here, so that's good. I covered a lot of material, but you know, me or Karen, your product consultants, we are available for you know, personal walkthroughs. You know, that way you can ask the questions you want to ask and focus on what you want to you know, zero in on to help you with your trading. You know, you can always reach us here at the office, or we're available via email as well. So I'm going to be James at OptionVue.com. Karen's going to be Karen at OptionVue.com. And this will be archived. And until next time, everybody, thanks a lot for tuning in.